Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to 444 Keys to Wisdom and Tarot Guidance. So this is actually more of a channeled tarot message. So okay, let me see. Let me just get right into this, okay? Because it just kind of, I was sitting here twisting my hair. I have locks, so I'm twisting my hair. And all of a sudden, just a bunch of stuff just started coming to me. Recently, I had some time off, and so my dream state was really kicking up. A lot of astral traveling going on, and so one of the places that I went, which I didn't understand where I was at when it was going on, but I do understand where I was at now and what I was seeing in my astral travels. And it's, when I don't understand it, I just let it be until I know exactly what I'm looking at here. So I'm sitting there watching TV, twisting my hair, and then boom, 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 a bunch of stuff just started coming to me, and I'm like, okay, so I got to share it. I do struggle sometimes with this. People are not going to listen. They don't listen. They just don't listen. They don't believe. But that's no longer my problem. It's just my job to get the message out. So let me tell you about the dream first. And the astral travels first, rather. It was more of an astral travel. And I'll tell you why this is not like an official reading. And I honestly prefer to pull the cards and shuffle them in front. But when I understood the revelation of what I was seeing, things was coming to me so fast, I just immediately came to my workspace and just grabbed my New Orleans Voodoo Tarot deck that I actually have not used in a very long time, and I just started just pulling cards, and everything that fell out is making sense. So I saw myself in this house, but the house that I was in, it kind of looked like the houses in the French Quarter, okay? And I'm in this house. There's a young lady that I do know, like for real, and her baby was there with me, my family. So we're just, in the walkway, like in the awning of the home. It was very beautiful, very, old, you could tell, but it was nice. It looks just like one of the, like if you enter into the house that's, in the French Quarter area. And I remember it being in there thinking like, this is not my house, but it was supposed to be my house. So all of a sudden the power had went out and it was pitch black. And I'm like, what is going on? So as I get up to go to the basement to figure out why the power went out, it actually just came back on. So it was very brief. The next thing I know, I'm going outside and there's like water everywhere. All of a sudden, so I get off my porch into a boat. And I'm just on this dirty water, and I could see different little people, like sporadic people in the distance on top of roofs. And then there was this dog paddling in the water. He kept kind of going under the water, then he would bring himself back up. It was a little black dog. He reminded me of like a Lassie type dog, but all black with some white specks. And he had like this orange rescue vest on. So I'm paddling in the boat, and I got this branch with these trees and stuff, like it was like this big branch with some little leaves and stuff coming off of it. So I'm telling my dog, and I'm calling the dog my dog's name. I have a dog in waking life. And I'm like, Nico, come. I'm like, come on, Nico, you could do it, swim. And the dog just paddling. He goes under and he come back out. I'm like, come on, you could do it. And the dog is trying to pedal to get to me so I can get him in the boat. So then it flips to me seeing this lady who I actually do know for real. This person is very evil. She doesn't know people. I don't think she realizes that, I know how evil she truly is, but either way. So I see this person, and she's got these Barbie dolls on the floor. Now then I flip to me being in a whole nother building. So she got these Barbie dolls on the floor, and she was like, well, I guess I'll just pick my dolls up and go sit over here. So she picked up these 3 little dolls, and she went and sat in this chair. And she's looking out the window, and I'm looking out the window, and I can see like the sky was turning. It was blue on the side, but in the middle it was turning gray and black. It was like a tornado or something was kicking up in the distance, and we could tell it was coming this way. So I'm like, well, I'm about to get out of here. But this lady just chose to sat there with, she was, I'm just gonna sit here with my dolls. I'm like, okay. So I could see like this bridge from a distance, even though where this building is, there's no bridge right there, but there's this bridge and there's all this water under the bottom. And I can see cars trying to get out of the city or leave the city or whatever they were doing. And then like my own daughter like jumped up and jumped in the car and took off. You know, like I don't think that was her specifically. She was symbolic of something else. And it was like, I was like, well, I'm getting out of here because this storm is coming this way. You know what I'm saying? So I could see the people trying to get off in their cars off this bridge trying to leave. But this particular person was like, I'm just going to sit here. And it was like, you see this storm is coming. Why are you just going to sit here and play with these dolls? So what I now understood that to be is there is going to be another hurricane sort of situation in Louisiana. Okay. There was another part too. After the flood part, I could see like this guy in this little baby pool, sitting in this little pool with his son. And if the sun was bright and shining, they was splashing, they was having a good time. So that's kind of how it ended. So what I understood that to be, and you know, if you're watching this, you can believe me or not, it really doesn't matter. Because somebody else, this is being shown to other people too. So there's going to be another Katrina in Louisiana, in New Orleans specifically. Okay. There was another bad hurricane a couple years back that got pretty bad, but not as bad as Katrina. That was kind of like, that hit history. But this one, when, I cannot tell you. I don't know. But there is another flood coming to Louisiana. New Orleans, Louisiana is getting ready to be underwater again. That is the message. That is the pure message. And it's a cycle. New Orleans is in a cycle, okay? And I'm sorry, this camera is shaking. New Orleans is in a cycle, all right? And the reason this is happening, and some people say even with Katrina, they wanted to, you know, rationalize things, say, oh, you know, that's mean to say these people are cursed, and you know, because of the voodoo and all this stuff, da, da, da. And people kind of slid past that part. But it is true. It's exactly why these cycles are happening, okay? So New Orleans, Louisiana is getting ready to be underwater again. And the reason is the ancestors are pissed. You know, those that created the culture of voodoo, they are angry. Marie Laveau's legacy is angry because practitioners in Louisiana, the ones that are underground, because first of all, they're angry that the voodoo tradition has been overtaken by culture vultures. Okay, if you go to New Orleans and you look at those things, it's not what it was historically meant to be. Okay, the shops have been taken over by people that have no right to even be touching this stuff, selling this stuff. They know nothing about it. Okay, unless they were born and raised there, and some of them were not. So they're making money off of African tradition. Okay, so they're already upset about that, and it's been watered down. But there are still some voodoo practitioners in Louisiana who are kind of on the low underground, still doing real root work, especially like in the swamps areas. And so the ancestors are pissed at these practitioners though, because somewhere along the line, voodoo practitioners have gotten away from the true heart of voodoo and the purpose of healing people, healing your soul, healing yourself, and things like that. And so a lot of people come through with their evil intentions, and they pretty much perverted the practice. Voodoo in itself is not evil. The person behind it is what's evil. And every voodoo practitioner is not evil, okay? But many have not kept the traditions of the heart and soul of it and what the ancestors expect, and they have perverted the use of it. And the reason is for money. People have become so hard pressed for money that they're now willing to do anything, including sell their own soul, to do these wicked workings for people, just out of pure greed. Okay, and that card is shown right here. You know, Shango. This card right here is a card of Shango, and that's one of the, you know, the Orishas. Shango was pissed. Like, what is going on here? These people are extremely they're crafted, they're skilled, they're wise. You know what I'm saying? They're tapped in. However, their minds are not matching the convictions, okay? And they're sick of it. There's no conscious of anything anymore. They lack consciousness. They're like, okay, you know, this kind of work, you should not be doing this kind of work for someone. You know, you should ask more questions. You know, people come to you and they lie on other people to get you to do some kind of work, and you do this work because you're so hard pressed for money out of greed and not believing your ancestors for provision. You partner and make these contracts with these liars, and most of these people are not even from your town. They come in from other states bringing curses upon the people of New Orleans. Okay, they come in with their ill intentions and ill wishes in their lives, and instead of you doing all the work you need to do to make sure that your hands and your path is clean before you perform this work, you just been doing it. And it's bringing a curse upon you. It's bringing a curse upon the other people in the city. And you're bringing a curse upon yourself. Then you get upset because what the work you're doing is not working, or it may have worked, but now you also have consequences from it. And so the money that these practitioners have gained, or that you gain from it as a practitioner, was to no avail. That is not how this is supposed to go. And so until these voodoo practitioners come back to the true heart and soul of the tradition of voodoo and take greed out of it, this is going to keep happening in New Orleans. It's a cycle. They're going to keep putting this city underwater, raising it back up, and every time it goes underwater, it's giving you a chance to humble yourself. Go back to the simplicities of life and remember to ask for the provision and have the faith that you need, that you're going to receive it. You know, stop being greedy. And the thing is, the people of New Orleans need to be a little bit more cognizant of these travelers that come in bringing these curses upon them. Because these are people that don't understand the voodoo tradition. They don't understand the hoodoo tradition. They don't know. They're just going by what they think it is. Okay? And they want to keep, mixing it in with witchcraft. And they come in with these evil intentions, and they're bringing curses. So the people of New Orleans need to gather together and say, hey, and band together. The practitioners need to say, hey, when these people come to you, this is what we need to really do. Get these people out of here. They're ruining us. Okay? And so you're stopping the money that you're actually supposed to be having. And so the ancestors and the astros have been upset again. The balance is off again. And so in order to restore balance, this has to happen again. When, I couldn't even tell you, but I'm for sure Louisiana, New Orleans or Louisiana is getting ready to go underwater again because the ancestors are mad. They're asking the practitioners to stop and go back to your soul, to your first days of becoming what you are, and get back into that and stop letting your greed and these people that don't know your culture, your true tradition, come in with their lies and their manipulations and their deceptions, and they're tricking you, and you're cursing, and they're causing you to curse yourself and curse the people that that live in your city with you. Because there's people that have nothing to do with this, but they all have to pay. Everybody has to pay. And that part with the lady that was sitting in the chair just watching the storm come with these 3 little Barbie dolls, to me that's symbolic of the voodoo doll. You know what I'm saying? There is great purpose in the voodoo doll, but it's being misused because of lack of education, and certain people, just according to their DNA, have no business touching it anyway. And they start messing with stuff, and they start cursing themselves and cursing their family. Then they want to get mad about it. You had no business putting your hands on it in the first place. Okay, but the practitioners, because of greed, you're just sitting there and you're watching this stuff happen, and you're not doing anything about it. And so if you're not going to do anything about it, the universe is going to keep wiping everything away. Wiping everything away. And you better hope you make it out this time. Okay, until you all come back to the heart and soul and the spirit of the true voodoo culture and tradition. Okay, this card right here that came out, this is the card of water. Okay, this is the watery part of water. This is intuition. Practitioners are not using their intuition. So since you've chosen not to use your intuition, the city's going to be flooded with water again. Okay, until you start to flood your soul with the right intuition and the intuitive things that you need to decide to discern what work is well worth it, and what work will get you and those connected to you in a lot of trouble. Okay. The Santero card, Santeria, this is earth. Okay, this is symbolic of earth in the New Orleans Voodoo deck. So you got your water and your earth together. These two things, these two elements, they get ready to come through and destroy again. Okay, and then the next card that came out for me was this one. This is Azaka Rada. This is survival. The people in New Orleans are getting ready to be back in this survival mode. Everything in this man's bag is his medicine, his clothing, his food, and he's going on a journey. Okay, there is promises of wellness and restoration back here, but for now, this is the journey that has to be taken. This is a card of having to start over. This is pure survival right here, back in the survival mode. And then this one right here, the Madame Laloon card or whatever, this is kind of like another card of new beginnings, starting over. Stop and thinking about just take a good stock and look over your life and what you're doing with the gifts that you've been given. Was any of it worth it? If it was, then, you know, throw out what's no longer serving you and keep what's necessary. Okay, and think in a collective manner. It's not just about you. Okay, other people are suffering from this. Okay, and these two cards kind of go the same. They're not the same, but they kind of can go hand in hand with, you know, you see the lightning right here, and it's like his hand is up getting ready to strike down. Like these two, you see, this is like the whirlwind as well, like a tornado. Like Shango is saying, for you to be so smart, so brilliant, so connected, why are you using your mind and your gifts in such an ill manner? Why do you keep doing that? And Shango is tired of it. And these kind of can go hand in hand too. Okay, this is the wisdom. You know, so after you've learned some lessons, you know, this card means the Simbi is a lot of things, but it's like, what did you learn? Are you getting it? This is cycles as well. This is kind of, both of these together can be cycles. It can mean a lot of things, but in this can be cycles. What have you learned? Are you learning what you need to learn to turn this cycle around? You know, and the hope is that you would gain the wisdom that you need so that the people of New Orleans can be at rest, can finally be at peace. And these blue skies can remain, and this uproar doesn't have to keep happening. Okay, but until the wisdom is coming, and people may not want to believe it, and that's fine. You don't have to. Even some voodoo practitioners may not want to believe it, but why not? If the work that you do, you should understand what the ancestors are saying and how they feel. You're just choosing, with these two cards here, you're choosing not to listen. And so this destruction has to keep coming. Okay, this is also a card of magical practices, mirroring, and things like that. This is also a card of magic. Okay, and you see, it kind of looks like a book in a way, but then you've got these serpents as well. It's like, but then she's wearing white like she's pure. It's kind of hard to see what's going on in here. It's because the what was supposed to be pure and meant for one thing has been turned into something very wicked and evil. You've allowed outsiders to come in and turn you into something that this was never meant to be. Okay, and so the ancestors are upset, and it's like, is there anything you can do about it at this point? No, it's already done. And as far as timing, I don't know that, and I'm gonna share this part with you. This is completely separate from what I'm saying. Back in 2016, and I probably only shared this dream with a couple of people. I had this one dream, and I may explain it to you. So, yeah, see, it's already written in the stars. It's going to happen. It's already being poured. See the ship on this water? It's already in the stars. It's already been pouring forth. So it's going to happen. New Orleans is going underwater again. And the people are going to have to uproot themselves again and be in survival mode again. Okay. But hopefully the lesson is learned and practitioners can put this away. Okay. And go back to this. Okay. And stop this cycle. But it's a curse. You're cursing yourselves and the people of New Orleans with your evil and wickedness. So anyway, so this dream I had in 2016, it started with me on my porch. I was living in a different city. So I'm on my porch and all of a sudden I saw these guys, these men in these brown uniforms that kind of look like uniforms that like Hitler people would wear. His soldiers would have worn. And there was like this huge ladder going up into the sky. And there was these men in these brown military suits, but again, they look like Nazi type suits. They had these rope and they was lowering down this big, nasty, brown looking rock out of the sky. They were standing on the ladder, lowering it down. It was huge. It looked like a big ass piece of poop. It was disgusting looking. And so what I now understand is, even though that dream was in 2016, that was COVID. It was sickness. That brown mass is sickness coming down. So that's how you know it was by design. Okay. And so it flipped to me getting off work. And I remember I couldn't cash. I had a paycheck in my hand. And, you know, most of us, we get direct deposit. But in the dream, I had a paycheck in my hand and I could not cash my check. I remember it started getting dark outside and I couldn't cash my check. It was like the banking systems had went down. Like, I don't know if it's that or if it's the opposite, but it was like if you didn't have cash on hand, you were screwed. Anybody with a bank card, anybody with a bank account, you were not able to get your money out. You were not able to do any sort of electronic transactions with money. And it was like that was the end of it. You wasn't going to be able to do it no more. So the only way you were going to be able to survive is if you had cash. Now, the way it's looking, it's the opposite. You know, that cash is trying to be obsolete. And if you have cash, it's not going to be any good. So in the dream, I could have been seeing in reverse. But either way, I remember trying to cash my check and I couldn't because it was like the banking systems no longer existed. They were gone out of nowhere, just vanished. And so it was getting dark outside and I remember going home and I remember you could not, once it got dark outside, you could not come off your porch, which I think I understood that to be quarantine unless we are still moving into martial law and it has not happened yet. But you could not come off your porch. Everybody had to be on their porch. And if you stepped off your porch, you would die. And the reason why I knew that was there were these men in them same brown military type suits that look like Hitler suits. They were lined up in the middle of the street. And they had these big ass beasts on these huge chains. Like the chains were like this thick. And each of these men had a beast and they was holding the beast back. And this beast is something I have never seen in waking life in my entire life. I don't even know what this was. The best way for me to describe it, I remember the nails, like you can hear, they were trying to get off trying to get away, but they were like, you know, pulling and holding them back. But I remember hearing their nails scrape across the concrete. Like their nails were huge and they was just scraping across the concrete or whatever. And their teeth were like just knives. Like the front teeth looked like knives. They were just, it was crazy. But the body, they were brown beasts, but the body shape of them kind of reminds you of a elephant-sized anteater. That's kind of how the shape of it was, like an anteater. And this with that long snout, but you could see the teeth coming out the sides of it. And so it was like everybody knew if I step off this porch, they're gonna let them beasts off those chains, and it's a wrap. So everybody knew to stay on the porch. You could talk to your neighbors from your porch or whatever, but you couldn't come off that porch. And it was like dark outside, and It was so, it was like the darkness was different. It was like extra dark. And it was like the next day had come, but it was still dark outside. So it was like 11 or 12 o'clock, you know, the next day, morning and afternoon, but it was still dark like it was 12 midnight. And so I remember standing on the porch looking out, and there was this lady in the distance walking with these bags, and she had a sash on, and she had like these white plastic bags. And I saw these guys, it was a white lady, and it was these black guys with these dreads running up on her. Now, the military people, I don't know, they were still standing there with the beast. Did they see it? I don't know. It was in the distance. It was like something else was going on in the background. So the men, it was like three of them, they approached this lady and they started attacking her. And I'm like, oh my God, they about to rob this lady. They about to rob this lady. Like, do somebody help. Somebody do something. But nobody would help. And they didn't want her money, though. Like, they were not robbing her for her money. They were taking her food. It was like something was going on where they didn't care. People didn't care about money. Like, they didn't want her money. They robbed her and took her food from her, the food that she had in those bags. And then on another side, like kind of off in the distance, there was this man, this black dude with these super long locks. His locks was like down to his butt. And he had this deep freezer that he had rolled out of some building. And it was like he was selling people frozen meat, but it was like an underground thing. Like you couldn't, it was like this secret something. Like you couldn't tell anybody that you were selling people food and selling people meats and stuff. It was like you had to come to him from somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody, you know, and he would sneak and get you, you know, give you food. I'm trying to think what else. So I understood that whatever that big brown rock was that they let down, that's COVID. And like I said, that didn't happen till COVID happened in 2020. This dream I had in 2016. I do feel like martial law is trying to come into effect. That's why they're giving people an opportunity to get guns. If you are a single woman or a single mother, you know, older woman, I highly encourage you to rethink your position on gun safety and self-defense, because I sure got my piece. You feel me? I'm not playing, because we're getting there, you know, and the young people have these guns, but I feel like they want them to. Like they're trying to train them early as well. They don't care that they're out here killing people. They want them to have these guns in their hands. But they're also telling people there's a day coming where you know, you may have to, you know what I'm saying? Because it's about to get real crazy. So I'm trying to think, so then I was in my house. I went back in the house and I was on the phone. Now this is, let me see, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. This is 6 years before I'm doing the work that I do at a women's and children's clinic here where I live. So I was on the phone. I remember being on the phone with a young lady, and I was trying to instruct her over the phone how to make baby milk and make it stretch, which I remember at that time I wasn't doing this kind of work. I wasn't working with pregnant women and children. I work with them now, but I wasn't working with them back then. I was doing health insurance back then and life insurance. And so I was like, why would I have been on the phone trying to help somebody, you know, teach them how to do baby milk and stretching and stuff? So that could be the formula crisis that's going on, or it could be still something else that's coming up. I don't know. But that was 6 years before I started, you know, doing what I'm doing, where I work with pregnant women and their babies. So I remember that part was odd. And the being by telephone, probably that could be the COVID stuff of us having to do a lot of things virtually, or it's something that's still coming. I don't know. And I just remember being really concerned for my neighbors. But so I shared that just to say whatever I saw, it didn't even start taking place to about 2020. I feel like what I was seeing, even I was so confused, is happening now. And that's how I know it's all by design. COVID did not just happen. The world, there's a new world order being set. All this stuff is by design. The COVID, the vaccinations, the baby milk, the everything, the gun laws being loosened, Roe versus Wade, because they need us to have babies. We're not having enough children to populate and make this country run. They need people that's gonna work. So they're trying to take away our right to have, to choose to be a mother or not. They want us to have these kids because they need people on this earth. Um, it's ridiculous. But what I realized I saw, and this was maybe about 2 weeks ago. It's New Orleans again. It's New Orleans again. So, share this video with somebody that you might know in Louisiana. Because I'm being, like, intuitively, I feel like I'm not the only person that's being told this. There's other people that's being shown this. And there's in Louisiana, if you live in Louisiana, in New Orleans specifically, you may want to consider moving. You may want to start making your exit if you can, because it's going underwater again. And this is the reason. Your voodoo practitioners that's practicing underground is cursing your city. And they're pissed. They're like, stop. Quit doing this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You're the reason why it's being looked at as you're perpetuating the stereotype. You're perpetuating the lie of the ancestors and the slave masters. They took it away from us because they knew how powerful it was. They knew it would help us. You know what I'm saying? If voodoo was supposed to hurt us, they would have let us bring it onto the plantations. No, we were not allowed to do that. That's why we had to congregate in Congo Square to trade off our ideas and secrets and herbs and things like that. They knew it was helpful. So the ancestors just like, it's got to go back to that point. It's not evil. It's the practitioners who have turned over, and the ancestors are asking the voodoo priests and priestesses to repent, because you're cursing yourselves, you're cursing the people of the city, and there's people that have nothing to do with this that have to keep paying for this. And there's already many that have been destroyed, and more will be destroyed if the practitioners that are left do not stop. These people that come to you with evil intentions, that don't tell the full truth of why they want some sort of root work done, get these people out of there. Okay? And it takes a unified effort. Stop allowing them to come into your city with this mess. And they're not even educated about what the culture is. They're just going based off an assumption or a couple of things that they read somewhere and think, oh, voodoo is evil. I want to do something evil to somebody. Let me go to Louisiana and get it done. And then you're doing it for them. Or you're doing this work not telling them the destruction that's going to come upon them. That's a lie too. That's a lie of omission. Voodoo is not about lie. Voodoo has integrity. So the ancestors want you to go back to being integral in your dealings of your culture and your craft. Okay, because there's another curse coming, and they're going to keep bringing it over and over and over. So those that kind of took that statement lightly about Katrina, like, oh, this is so sad, this happened to these people, there's a bigger picture to this. Everything is spiritual, period. There's a bigger picture to this. The laws of nature have been upset again, and so in order to restore balance, everything has to be destroyed and rebuilt again. So people that live in New Orleans better start getting out of there. This could be a year from now. This could be next. This could be 4 years from now. I don't know. But like I said, you're going to see it happen again. There's another. It won't be a light one like that last one was a couple years ago. It's going underwater again, like it did with Katrina. And practitioners, you're bringing this because you're very powerful people. You're upsetting the atmosphere, and so here's what we got to do. The ancestors are saying again to restore balance because of your greed. So I think that is all. That's it. Till next time. Thanks for listening. Share the video, like it if you like. Bye.